So if it's not already obvious, I'm a Hellboy fanatic. Since I'm such a Hellboy fan, I thought it might be fun to do an extended review. In this review, I'm going to review the booze, I'm going to review the comics, and I'm going to review the new movie. And give you my wholehearted opinion on all three. This is the ultimate Hellboy triple threat review. Oh! Let's review the whiskey. So, this exists. It's a real thing. A good friend got it for me for my birthday. Thanks. Says here it's a cinnamon whiskey. Corn whiskey with natural flavor and caramel color. 33.3% alcohol. That's 66.6 proof. Oh, I get it. Cute. Let's try it out.
See what a thing's like.
It definitely smells like cinnamon. Cheers. It tastes like Fireball's drunk cousin from the South. Tastes like expired cough syrup. Tastes like I'm already hungover. Tastes like a fairy's asshole. It definitely tastes like something Hellboy would never drink. Let's try this. Much better. So my final evaluation of the Hellboy Cinnamon Whiskey is it looks like Hellboy on the outside, but on the inside, it's just cheap and disappointing, which is kind of an accurate representation of the new movie. Let's talk about the comics. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet because how could I possibly explain this much story in one video? So I've been reading comic books for over 2 decades and I can confidently say that Hellboy is my absolute favorite comic book series I've ever read. You've got this demon child that's summoned into the world at the end of World War II and he's discovered by Professor Broom. And Professor Broom raises this demon as his own son. And in that, he teaches Hellboy how to be a good man. And that's what Hellboy strives to be his entire life. He just wants to be a good man. He joins the BPRD in the 1950s, and from that, there's roughly 50, 60 years of Hellboy investigating weird, creepy, scary, horrific shit. And a lot of these things he has to fight his way out and learn how to overcome these situations. And these stories are the beginning to the middle of Hellboy, and they're great. But eventually he decides to leave the BPRD and see where the world takes him. And this is where he decides to learn about himself and literally face his inner demon. And these stories from the middle to the end of the Hellboy series are my absolute favorite. I fucking love them. Throughout most of Hellboy's life, he's told by witches and demons and ghosts, everyone, that he's destined to bring about the destruction of the world. And after the destruction of the world, he's destined to rule over hell. And when all these demons and witches and things tell him this, his attitude is always, nah, fuck that and fuck you. His character goes through this amazing evolution of ignoring his fate, to denying his fate, to accepting his fate, even though he doesn't realize that the prophecy may have been misinterpreted and that his own free will can change everything. That's why this story is so cool. It's a constant battle of free will versus fate. And the creator of Hellboy, Mike Mignola, weaves it all together with this old folklore and amazing characters and fantastic artwork. Mike Mignola's artwork. Yes, it's dark and bold and castles and weird shit. It's a comic book series that's inspired by the horror genre. There's some horrific shit in there. I also need to give some credit to Duncan Fergito. When Mike Mignola decided to step back on doing artwork and just focus on story, Duncan took over the artwork. And this is when Hellboy is at its best for me. The last few stories that focus on Hellboy's character in the end and the decisions that he makes and where these decisions lead him, they're fucking incredible. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and only one writer and a few artists. It's one complete story that focuses on a character's evolution of what he is versus who he wants to be. And that's the last point that I want to make on this series. I love Hellboy. I fucking love it. I could go on. If you guys want me to make an in-depth Hellboy story video, let me know. But for now, let's talk movies. The Guillermo del Toro movies. I appreciate them for what they are. They introduced me to Hellboy, and that led me to read the comics. But those movies are not Hellboy. They just aren't. Guillermo took this character and created his own interpretation. And it's a good interpretation. It's very, very creative. It's just not the comics. The comic books are just way darker and have way less jokes, but at least they're good movies, and they have a pretty good grasp of who Hellboy is. I feel like Ron Perlman knows that character. This new movie, however, went off the fucking rails. The plot! Hellboy is dealing with his daddy issues at the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. He's going around and doing missions and investigating weird shit. And while this is going on, the pig man, Graugok, is trying to bring the Blood Queen back to life. And the Blood Queen, Nimue, wants to destroy the world as we know it. And Hellboy and the BPRD have to stop her. Let's talk characters. This movie takes characters from the comics that will excite comic book fans. And then they fuck it up. You got Professor Broom, that's Hellboy's adopted father. He's like this hard ass that doesn't show Hellboy any love. It's a lot of tough love from Professor Broom. No. Professor Broom is supposed to be a kind man that inspires Hellboy to be good. Why isn't he like that? He's better in the comics! And then you've got Graugok, the pig man. His character is supposed to be like Loki, manipulative. He manipulates people to do his bidding to get revenge against Hellboy. Nope. For some reason, they make him huge. Why? They just make him someone for Hellboy to fight. They take all his character and shit on it. He's better in the comics. Baba Yaga is in this movie. Yes! I was so happy to see her in this. No! They make her weird and gross and take away the spirit of her character. The Blood Queen is okay, but she has no character development, just like every other character. The development that these characters have are a really quick story that's supposed to cover years of fucking writing. It doesn't work! I'm not even gonna talk about Alice. God damn it. And this brings us to Hellboy. They really fucked up. Hellboy is a demon that wants to be a good man, and he does his best to do so. Not in this. They turn Hellboy into a dumb frat bro that's constantly trying to make jokes, and none of the jokes land. Not funny. They make his character have these major daddy doesn't love me issues. What? No. How can a character that's roughly, 75 years old have daddy issues? God damn it. Who wrote this fucking script? Ron Perlman knew that character way better than David Harbour. You could tell Ron Perlman read the fucking comics. At this point, I'm not even sure that David Harbour is a good actor anymore. Here's my overall assessment of this movie. If you don't know Hellboy and you haven't seen the previous movies and you don't know the comics, then this is just a bad movie that just crams random shit and introduces so many random characters without any development. It's so hard to follow. If you're a Hellboy fan like me, this movie is torture. This movie butchers the source material. They do grab stuff from the comics, which is good to see, but it's like they take 15 really great stories and just cram it into one movie and shit all over it. The acting is actually pretty good. There's good actors in this movie, but the script really sucks. There's way too many moments that they try to make funny, and there's way too many jokes. My audience during this movie did not laugh a single fucking time. They didn't laugh once. That's not good. They rush through character development, so you just don't care at all because there's too much story to cover. You just don't give a shit what happens to these characters, including Hellboy. Oh man, the CG is really bad. So much shit just looks awkward and out of place. Also, the music is way out of place. The music sucks in this movie. I don't really know who this movie is made for. If I were 10 years old, I'd probably love it. But it's an R-rated movie. They really forced the R rating too. There's a lot of unnecessary gore, and they try so hard to say fuck as many times as they can. I swear, I love to swear. And that was too many fucks for me. I think it's pretty clear that the director doesn't care about this universe, and I was very disappointed. It was just this watered down, cheesy version of Hellboy that missed the mark, and it didn't have any heart. at least the Guillermo del Toro movies had a ton of heart. The only thing I really liked about this movie was Lobster Johnson. If I had to rank this movie amongst other comic book movies, I'd say it's just about as good as Green Lantern or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah! If you want to see a decent version of Hellboy, just watch the original first two movies. Guillermo del Toro did a good job. If you want to know this whole story in all its glory, then just read the comic books. This is the entire Hellboy story. That's it. It's the best shit I've ever read. I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. The booze, it sucks. The comics are the best ever. And the new movie sucks. That's it. See ya. Subscribe. Why did they make the Hand of Doom look like that? Why did they have to change the Hand of Doom? Just fucking make it look like it looks in the goddamn comics. I know it doesn't make a difference, but I want it to look like how it looks in the comics. I'm fucking sorry.